Get the trees in and growing. If you can do that and keep the competition down, you've got your trees. So it's about establishing trees on sand sand hills, which are prone to blowing away. You know, there might be primrose, other perennial weeds that you've got to control. So planting a ryecorn crop lets you control that weeds in that first year. But it does another thing. As a stubble, it is very durable, and so it remains standing up the following year. So with as little soil disturbance as all, I was just make a little trench contoured along the hills and plant into that. Birds don't like landing where they can't see around them. So if you've got a thick stubble 18 inches high, half a metre, the birds won't land because they love to land and nip off a tree at the bottom, glass particularly. And so that's one way to alleviate that to some degree. The ongoing management for me was keeping the competition away, and that was weeds like veldtgrass and lucerne and all that sort of stuff. If you can get them healthily through the first summer, then they'll usually grow on. I learnt through the first site blowing away, I had controlled the competition there by spraying the whole lot out, but of course it left to open to wind erosion. So I learnt a couple of things. Don't spray out too wide a place, but you know, you want a metre either side of the tree to let it get through the first year. And by planting a ryecorn crop the previous year, that is using a 2-year establishment regime, that gives you a chance to clean up the competition and the weeds the year before that you want to plant the trees.
This light sandy soils was causing problems with livestock, bearing it out and causing sand drift and being unable to graze the whole property. We need to spray out grasses the year before, at least 1 year, and where we've got veldtgrass populations probably needs spraying out 2 years before. That is essential as far as successful establishment. I have and do plant them in a fashion that we're able to water in the first summer. I refuse to go any further than that. It's usually only as required. It's not an essential thing. Anything where we have summer rains, I've gone through without any extra watering, but it just gives a better establishment. They must be fenced off early. With the red gums, we can fence them off for about 6 years and then reintroduce livestock. With most other varieties, they need fencing off as separate woodlots.
The main thing is to keep the stock out until the plant is at least, say, 1.5 to 2 metres high. Then you can do a little quick feed off to clean up the area, and they do a little bit of pruning as well, but you don't want them to damage anything. It must be fenced. If you haven't got it fenced from stock, then you're really going to battle to ever get establishment. So we're looking for, on an average, around 85% as an establishment. Even though our best years have been as higher than 95, our worst years have been 45%. We tend to do most of our planting as soon as seeding is finished, so it's dependent on the season, and that's when the most moisture's there. We've planted trees as late as mid-August, but it's a lot of risk involved in this country in that, because our rain can just come away to nothing in the middle of September. Now, a plant that's only been in the ground a month, it just will not make it through the first summer. Probably the very best result we ever had was one row of trees that we planted into a barley crop. And the beauty of that was that we prepared the soil as a barley crop, we grew a barley crop, and then we went through with the V-blade, and then we planted our trees. We didn't fence that till after harvest. We harvested over the top of the trees, And they really, that particular year was a very, very good establishment percentage.